moving on. We've finished the first round of quizzing. Same rules. We go anti-clockwise. Starting from I am Calcutta, team 2. Right? So let me quickly, same rules. So I'm just going to move very quickly to the question. Here it comes. Iru is a biographical work on Dash Curve. Right? An Indian scholar and one of the pioneers in her field of study, authored by Urmila Deshpande, who happens to be her great-granddaughter, and Thiago Binto Barbosa. She established a certain department for this discipline at University of Pune. Her doctoral education in Germany was in fact funded by Mr. Jivraj Mehta, who was the first chief minister of Gujarat, the erstwhile Diwan of Baroda, and also the husband of Constituent Assembly member Hansrao Mehta. Her research culminated in 2 seminal works, Kinship Organization of India and Hindu Society. Named after a geographical feature from the neighboring country, she was one of India's first known specialists in which field of study? This was the field of study that she started off as a department of study in Pune University. One of the first women specialists in this field of study. Right? That's the question. There are 2 parts to the question. You need to tell me the field of study, and you need to tell me the name, which was actually inspired by a geographical feature from the neighboring country. Okay, work this out. Teams which are pouncing, I want you to raise your hands now. 3, 2, and 1. I see 2 teams pouncing. I quickly check their answers. Okay. And I've seen both their answers, and I am Calcutta. Over to you.
Yeah, so this is Iravati Karve, and she was a pioneer in anthropology in India.
She was a pioneer in anthropology. Fantastic answer. So, women pioneer of anthropology. She started a field of study in University of Pune, and her studies include multiple things. In fact, she worked under a German senior who wanted to prove how people of white skin skulls were better in terms of intellect and so on. She observed close to about 250 odd skulls that disproved her own mentor's thing. So she was like a pioneer in her sense. So very good answer. I am Calcutta. Can you have a huge round of applause for that completely? And what geographical feature is he named after?
It's Mount Eravat.
Irrawaddy River from Myanmar. So that's the answer we were looking for. Well done. 10 points. Teams which pounced, if you can raise your hands. So 10 points to NLSIU. They got both the parts right. LSR got 1 part right, another part wrong, right? It's hard luck, but good that you guys went for it. You wanted to try it. So they get a -10, unfortunately, but well done. Okay, so that's the first question. This is Miss Iravati Karve. And incidentally, you can see Dr. C.V. Raman and so on. There was Ms. Karve there. Okay, moving on to the next question. And the question is to JNLU. Over to you, folks. The Civil Rights Department, or the CRD, in the US 2020 lawsuit against Cisco Systems marked a historic first in the US addressing a unique form of workplace issue. The case stemmed from a 2016 incident where the Cisco employee, John Doe, to protect their identity, had personal details about his background revealed by his manager. When he raised concerns, he allegedly faced retaliation, including isolation, reduced responsibilities, and denial of promotion. This led to CRD filing the lawsuit, which spurred new workspace policies, educational reforms, and legislative proposals in different states in the United States. What specific issue was at the heart of this case is the question, a historic judgment from US courts. Right? So you need to tell me what was the issue, right? Teams which are pouncing, please raise your hand now. 3, 2, and 1. I close pounce. I take Goa University's. Okay? Okay. So I've seen their answers, and the direct is to GNLU.
So it was a case of caste discrimination.
It was a case of caste discrimination in United States.
United States.
And now there are policies to protect South Asian people in United States against caste discrimination. Superb answer. Can you have a huge round of applause? That is right. Right? So he was discriminated on the basis of caste, and unfortunately, that was, and then the jurisprudence kind of have come out from judgments and legislative policies. Superb answer. Team Switch Pounds, if you can raise your hands. Team NLSIU cracked it with good 10 points. Very well done. Good 10 points. Lady Shriram College, minus 10. They're they're saying we will give our best. Good guess, not quite. And minus 10 for Goa University also. There also was a very topical and a very important issue, but not this particular case. Good thinking, all of you. And now to the next question, and this is direct to NLSIU, coming up on the screen. The Supreme Court Observer recently received a response to an RTI requesting the Supreme Court for information on certain cases. The Supreme Court registry provided 24 case titles, mainly connected to a 1986 Maharashtra amendment allowing the state to take over private property due to inadequate repairs. Additionally, the list prominently features cases from the well-known MC Mehta environmental and public interest litigation series, where the court has issued ongoing orders for issues relating to environmental and civic governance. What was the RTI about? Or tell us what connects all these cases. Right? The RTI specifically asked for certain kind of cases. You need to tell me what was this RTI about. Right? So teams which are pouncing, please raise your hand. And of course, Supreme Court Observer is a great archives of judgments with distilled, issues, judgment, from the court and so on. So if you've not gotten a chance, you should definitely go and explore it. Teams which are pouncing, 3, 2, and 1. I close Okay. So I was just about to say, so do you want me to take it? You said before I said close. You want to go? You want to go for it? Okay, they are going for it. And okay, right. NLSIU, over to you folks.
Right, so long run answer, but there are some heritage buildings in Mumbai which have been taken over by different private stores, like Zara has taken one over, so probably related to them, heritage buildings in the...
So, old heritage buildings in Bombay taken over by private people, etc., and the cases relating to them. Moving on to Campus Law Center.
So, the implementation of the GRAP regulations across the country.
Implementation of the?
GRAP regulations.
GRAP regulations. Moving on to KLE.
Is it related to people illegally occupying heritage sites and...
illegally occupying heritage sites and therefore, good thinking, not quite. Lady Shriram College.
So bulldozing of buildings.
Bulldozer justice judgment and bulldozing buildings and those cases. Goa University.
I'll go with enemy property. Enemy property.
Enemy property. And the case was about what are the enemy properties that still exist in our country. I am Calcutta.
We'll guess this is about the slums in Dharavi or...
Slums in Dharavi with all the recent corporate who's trying to take over it and so on. I am Calcutta, Team 1. Team 2.
I would guess it is related to the princely states which might be existing in Maharashtra and the properties related to that.
The properties of the princely states, privy purses and so on. All good answers. GNLU went for last minute, they wanted to go for it. Anyone in the audience? It's a very logical, curious question that you and I might have. And it's one of the larger issues that the Supreme Court and the judiciary is constantly looking to address. Right? And this was like a matter of knowing which amongst them. And so that was the clue I'm looking at. Any guesses from any of you? Okay? Looks like this is a question that bowled over many of you in the audience and in the finals. They sought the oldest case still pending in the Supreme Court of India. right? So the biggest thing is pending of cases in the Supreme Court. So what were some of the oldest pending cases at the Supreme Court of India? So that was all that I was looking for, because that's a matter of, how fast we can reduce. So, we have some 30 plus, 40 plus years cases in the Supreme Court, right? So that is a little bit of a hard one, but there's a beautiful article on it, and go ahead and read about it. Next question. Yeah, thanks for that. And they're a very earnest team. I'll tell you why. Unfortunately, a -10, but they still ensured that they got my attention and they got it. So well played. I appreciate it. Okay, next question coming up on the screen, all of you. Since no one got that right, NLSIU, it's a direct to you guys, correct? Yeah, it's over to you guys. Here it comes. So take a moment, breathe through. There's a little longish question. I'm going to first play you an audio, okay? Audio is a collaboration between a group of musicians from the transgender community residing in the border areas of Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Telangana, and a renowned Magsaysay awardee. This community carries forward a singing tradition that is deeply devotional, praising Yellamma. Like many other queer communities, they face marginalization and stigma. Their compositions are in Marathi and Kannada. Now, that's one part. The second part is this collaboration is, the other person is a Magsaysay awardee. In question is a grandnephew of the Constituent Assembly member we have shown you in the image there. And he was member of the drafting committee as well, and who opined that unjust social practices should be tackled through legislative reform and public mobilization. He was incredible, incidentally, this is an important fact for all of you. The Magsaysay awardee was incidentally named after this Constituent Assembly member. Identify the two collaborators, and in this unique musical partnership, I'm going to play the audio.
ಎಷ್ಟು ವಧುರಲಿ ಅಂಬಾಣಿನಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೂಗಾಲಿ ರೇಣುಕಾನಿ ಮಗ ಹೋಗು ನಡಿರಿಗ ನಾವು ದೇವಿ ಎಲ್ಲಮ್ಮಗ ಹೋಗು ನಡಿರಿಗ ನಾವು ತಾಯಿ ಎಲ್ಲಮ್ಮಗ ಹೋಗು ನಡಿ ನಾವು ದೇವಿ ಎಲ್ಲಮ್ಮಗ ಹೋಗು ನಡಿ
This is the musical group. Now the next collaborator. This person. The second collaborator.
Jagadam Bagananu Ambago Jagadam Bagananu Ambago Jagadam Bagananu Amba
I could just keep going on with the song, but teams which are bouncing, please raise your hand. We need to identify the musical group and the Magsaysay awardee who are collaborated in this musical collaboration. Right? Teams which are bouncing, yes? Musical group's name. There's a particular name by which they are known by. Right? Teams which are bouncing, 3, 2, and 1. I close bounce, and the direct is to NLSIU. Part points available.
Jogapas and TM Krishna.
So you're saying the community is Jogapas?
And the other collaborators, TM.
Collaborators TM Krishna?
Named after?
Named after TM Krishna.
Grandfather.
Okay. But let's see if they have gotten. So that's the right answer. TM Krishna and the Jogapas.
ಎಷ್ಟು ವಧುರಲಿ ಅಂಬಾಣಿನಿಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೂಗಾಲಿ ರೇಣುಕಾನಿ ಮಗ
So it's a fantastic collaboration. In fact, they just performed in Bangalore a couple of days back in the Bangalore Habba. And if you get a chance, do go explore that music. It's beautiful, right? So this is T.M. Krishna, and he was the grandnephew of T.T. Krishnamachari. From T.T. Krishnamachari comes the famous musician T.M. Krishna. So that's something that, for all of you, a constant assembly connection to this collaboration. Fantastic answer, NLSIU. Good 10 points. Well done. Right? Part of ConQuest is also to take us to the roots of people, from different communities, folklores, facing different forms of, marginalization and so on, right? But also bringing to them the fore, right? Next question is to Team Campus Law Center. Your direct coming up. People of South Asian origin today are between 4 and 6 times more likely to get type 2 diabetes than Caucasian people. Well, the role of diet and lifestyle has been explored. It's only recently that the impact of the disproportionate number of 25 of something which occurred under the official British colonial rule, 89 years, compared to 15 which occurred in 2000 years preceding the British rule. What specifically have studies shown to be the reason for this phenomenon, right? What is the specific reason that research has shown attributed to the British rule that the South Asians have a higher propensity to get type 2 diabetes? Teams which are pouncing, quickly raise your hand now. 3, 2, 1. I close pounce. I quickly check your answers. So I've seen their answers, and the direct is to Campus Law Center, Delhi.
So these are the famines that happened during the British rule, for example, the Great Bengal famine and all.
So you're saying because of famine, what happened?
What happened is we started depositing fats in the lower parts of the abdomen in specifically East Indians, so because of which we get diabetes these days.
Okay, so fat deposits because of that. I'll give it to you. Very good answer. What happens is, during famines, our body starts to get prepared for starving, right? And therefore, we become little resistant to insulin. Now, our bodies are now genetically modified to some extent where we are resistant to insulin largely. But when there is abundance like now, when we have enough food, processed food and so on, we have more than required sugar, and we are also resistant to insulin. So therefore, what happens is it deposits as fat or any other ways in which it finally turns into diabetes. That's the answer we were looking for. I think a huge round of applause for that good answer. Social events have a great impact on human lives, right? And this is one such. Teams which are pouncing, if you can raise your hand. I am Calcutta, Team 1, 10 points. JNLU, 10 points. NLSIU, 10 points. LSR, 10 points. 10 points to I am Calcutta, Team 1. Right? Fabulous answers, everyone. So I think all of them deserve a good round of applause. Right? So next question. Swatantrapur, founded in 1939 by the rulers of the state of Aundh, is now located in the Sangli district of Maharashtra. It was the site of an experiment led by a Polish immigrant Jewish refugee, Morris Friedman, who interestingly was the person along with Gandhiji who drafted the new constitution for the princely state of Aundh. And it was known as the Aundh experiment. This unique initiative at Swatantrapur inspired the famous director V. Shantaram for a Hindi film remembered by this iconic song, "E Malik Tera Bandham," sung by Lata Mangeshkar. The film actually went on to win a Silver Bear Award in the 8th Berlin International Film Festival. 2 parts to the question. What makes Swatantrapur unique? What was the experiment that was done in Swatantrapur that inspired this movie? And what is this movie? Playing a audio from, actually a video clip, which also has the famous song by Lata Mangeshkar. Here it comes.
बंदे हम ऐसे हो हमारे
I've played the audio clip. I need you to identify two parts. What was this unique experiment? And tell me what is the movie. Right? Teams are pouncing. Now, 3, 2, direct is to Kaylee. 3, 2, 1. I close pounce. I quickly check their answers. And the direct is to Kaylee. Over to you, folks.
Sir, is the experiment where people from all religions are in a single village, secularism and so on?
Okay, an experiment in secularism where all people of all religions came and said, that's India. Okay, but good guess. But anything else? What is the move of the movie? Okay. Moving on to LSR.
So, local self-government is the experiment. Local self-government is the
Local self-government is the experiment.
movie.
It's Do Aankh Bara Haath something.
Okay.
So I'm mad that I can't recollect the name of the movie. The experiment was open prisons, so people could just, the family members could also come here to the prisons, and they so basically open prison. Idea was open prisons.
But I'll give it to them. That's the right answer between both of them. I mean, this is the most quirkiest answer that we could hear. The name of the movie was this one. So they said that, right? So they said that by just working out. So I'll give it to them. That's 5 points to Lady Shriram College, right? She was in her head somewhere. He said, Dao Aanke Barahat. I'll give it to you because after hearing this answer, I mean, if there are small variations also, it's fine. And good 10 points for them. This was an open jail. No walls, open jail, which is a concept that we follow in multiple prisons today in India, right? Fabulous answer. I think they deserve a good round of applause for that. Cracker. And there's also a beautiful way in which how Polish immigrant did this experiment, and that inspired a movie, and he was involved in a constitution for a princely state, right? Fabulous answers from all of them. I'll give you 5 points to the first team that answered. So 5 points for LSR, 5 points to open prison. Yeah, okay? That's the answer. And team which pounds, can I have a huge round of applause for I Am Calcutta, who got that right. Team 1 cracked both the parts right. This is Do Aankh Barahat and open jail. Fabulous. With that, we've come to the end of 2 rounds of quizzing. Now for some action with questions from listed round, which my colleague Anaga will run for all of you. But before that, a few audience questions. These are audience questions we've asked in the course of our ConQuest 2024. So here is one such question. So anyone who wants to take a crack at this, which was one of the first princely states, so to say, which established a representative assembly, and it was the handiwork of this gentleman, K.R. Srinivas Iyengar. And notably, the constitution introduced affirmative action, such as reservation for Muslims, depressed classes, and so on, with limited franchise. Which princely state? Lots of clues in the question. Over to you there.
Mysore.
You're saying Mysore, and why Mysore?
Srinivas Iyengar is from Mysore.
Srinivas Iyengar is from Mysore. I'll give it to you. That's the right answer. And if you look closely here, there was the Ganda Berunda, which is the insignia of the Mysore Maharajas, and later even like the BMTC and multiple things in Bangalore. Very good answer. This is the Mysore state. Well done. Next question coming up on the screen for the audience. So on June of 1947, a Nobel laureate who we have blanked out there is shaking hands with Pandit Nehru, drawing comparisons between the plight of untouchables in India and the population of the newly established Jewish state. He stated, I read that the curse of the Pariah was about to be lifted from millions of Hindus in the very days when the attention of the world was fixed on the problem of another group of human beings who, like the untouchables, have seen the victims of persecution and discrimination for centuries. However, Pandit Nehru was not persuaded, and laureates' attempt to influence Nehru's stance on the Israeli state failed. Which famous Nobel laureate are we referring to? Anyone in the audience? Yes?
Rabindranath Tagore.
Very good guess. Not quite. Not Rabindranath Tagore. But Rabindranath Tagore did have multiple such.
Is it Einstein?
Is it Einstein? It is Albert Einstein. Very good answer. In fact, when the Jewish state Israel was formed, I think he was offered to be the president, the first president of Israel as well. Okay, so that is Albert Einstein. And with that, we've completed our audience questions. After 2 rounds of quizzing, this is how the national finalists fared. I'm Calcutta, team 1.5 century. Can we have a huge round of applause? Goa University at 15. Lady Shriram College with some risks that they've taken, but they've still at 40. Very well done. KLE Law College, they've answered some very good answers, but unfortunately, I think first 2 rounds have been a little googly for them, but I'm sure they'll come through with the next few rounds. Campus Law Center, Faculty of Law at 50. Right now, leading our NLSIU and I am Calcutta, Team 2. A huge round of applause for them. And GNLU at 20 points. Right? So that's our scorecard after 2 rounds of quizzing. And over to Anaga to take through for the next round.